Hey everyone, time for Geocache Talk. Whether you're at work, in the car, wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give a like and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, and now Spotify, so that you can get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and our patrons, Demon Hunter 2, Aggie Jedi Master, Electric Water Boy, and Teus, Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, Nick at Cashley, One Kind Word, Ravenclaw Tia, Shermanator 18, Butterfly Girl, Loon Trackers, the Aussie Geocacher, Sodak Zach, the Deadliest Cachers, Terrell 2, Neil Moore, Molly the Geocaching Dog, Team D&D, Geocaching Adam, Peachy 1276, the No Code Geocachers, Curiosity Girl, Tick Magnet, Marsapanic, Bricker John, Firesafe, FS Sabero, Geo Rick, Cache Addict Mel, Geocaching Janji, the Geocaching Junkie, Sir Drumalot, Janice, Tricassius, Tom Frey, Rugels, the Bruce Zero, EGK, PBR, Casamaya, Master Sergeant, USMC, Little Gears, Albedo 0.39, It's Only Barney, Purple Turtles 3, and ACDC Family. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get path tags, coins, other geocaching swag during the year, as well as invites to special events only for patrons. Support levels start at as little as $3 a month. Well, let me start by welcoming my planetary friend, Jesse, aka Memphis Mafia.
Planetary friend.
He's my planetary. He's my man in space.
That's got to be one of your weirdest segues into us getting started so far.
Thanks,
but I'll take it. Planetary friend. It could have been worse, right?
You're quite a ways out now, right? You're a good spaceman. You're out to like Jupiter.
You know what? I had it pulled up. I think I'm headed towards Uranus.
Okay. Insert joke here.
Let's not. Let's just skip the joke.
All right, we got a lot to talk about. Let's jump right into show number 91. Like I did that. Our show notes say 90, but it's
I saw that.
91 from March 25th as we talk about proper geocaching logs, or in some cases, really bad geocaching logs, which we'll get to as well. But first, some news. Where's the... you're supposed to do a news.
I'm not good at that news. The news noise. That's too hard.
We got something this week from Nancy, who this is about last week's show. But I'm glad Jesse and I love getting emails, whether it's from talking about old shows or news shows or upcoming shows, whatever. But really appreciate Nancy updating us on something about, we were talking last week about hides and containers. It was really about containers, but it got her thinking, and so she gave us some good new information. I'll get it out. She wrote, "Greetings. I just finished listening to this week's show about containers, and in answer to the question about geocaches on or near school property, a geocache can be placed there with the written permission of the school administration. If, at least in her state, I don't know if this is check with your local people, right, Jesse? Because
oh yeah, absolutely.
It all depends. In her case, she can with written permission, so
it can be done.
Yeah, do your investigations. She also wanted to let us know that she has a fake water sprinkler head geocache in my front yard. Of course, it's her front yard, so you can put whatever kind you want, I guess, on that.
And he gets an automatic favorite point from me.
Automatic favorite point. I can also relate to said container because I myself have dismantled more than one authentic sprinkler head in my caching quest over the years. Yeah, I think we both have done that.
Yeah, and feel bad about it too.
I do too, because it's like, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. Because I'm an avid hider, always looking on the lookout for ordinary containers, out of the ordinary containers, which I think we all are. So, thank you, Nancy, for that email. We also got another email. We got another cool email. This is from Team G Winchester, and he writes about using. I'll read part of it. It says he loves Google My Maps to build maps to track things. It handles GPX files. They can't be really large GPX files, but it will handle them. So you can use layers, so you can import many different GPXs. But one of the weaknesses is they don't have county lines, and of course, if you're a county hunter, you really need that. So Google Earth has them. He's not a fan of Google Earth. I like Google Earth for what it is, but I don't like it for geocaching. Are you?
I use it as a third or fourth way to verify coordinates or check something out ahead of time, but I not really. I use Google
Right.
Maps and the satellite view and stuff like that, but
I do too.
Google Earth's not that part of it's not my favorite.
No, no, no. So anyway, he goes through some more detail, which I really appreciate, and we'll have it in the show notes, um, so you can kind of read through more of his email. But he also gives a link to a county map, but it's not the greatest because of the colors. So it has some weird colors, but he's been using that to help with doing some county um, prep for his trip to Geo Woodstock. So that's what he's using for that. So,
Well, that's the thing. There's so many ways and so many tools out there for people, especially when you're planning those big trips.
yeah,
I've gone old school when we went on trips before and had like state maps and county maps because they were just easier to flip through in the car when we're driving in the street, and
that's true.
combination of that and Cashly, and that's generally what we do is,
Mm,
I've even printed out maps, some little section that I want if I wanted just a general reference before. So
yeah.
I haven't done what he's done, but I've tried all kinds of different ways to make sure I have everything I want. Always have a
Yeah.
back.
No, that's good. Yeah. Speaking of having a backup is when you're doing trips, and this is not a show about trips. We've done those before. We'll do them again, but is always have a backup because um, there's no guarantee, if you're going to catch that county. We're going to have
Make
Nathan.
sure that it's actually in the county.
Yeah. Right. You want to find it later and go, dang, I missed it. Have a big hole when you're
Oh yeah,
a line of. So we're actually going to have Nathan Lewis.
Never actually happening, right? But
right, exactly. Yeah, Nathan Lewis is going to be on the show in a few weeks. He's going to talk about his trip out to California and back, and he basically did a string of counties all the way out and back. So that's kind of interesting. We'll have a good talk about that with him. So, all right. So next, we talked about it, I guess, a couple of weeks ago. We didn't really work into the schedule, but tonight we've got a few minutes to talk about geocaching phonetic alphabet.
I like it.
You like it. I do too. So it's posted in the show notes, and I don't know, we'll probably put it in a couple different places, but from now on, this is what we're using, and we're going to use it tonight. But should we just give you want to go through it A through Z? Do you want to
go through it, and I'll add it in the chat room as well.
Okay, go. All right. So here's the correct phonetic alphabet for geocachers. And again, we talked about last week. This is not a diss on the military because we are very pro-military on this show. So that's not what this is for. This is just a different. That's their thing.
We got more fun way for cachers.
Different way for geocachers. So we've got it. So it's Altoid, Bison, Container, Difficulty, Event, Fizzy, Ground, Hike, Ivy. I feel like I'm doing a thing for football. Ivy, Jasmer, Kayak, Leo, Multi, Nature, Outdoor, Puzzle, Query, Rating, Search, Terrain, Urban, Virtual, Water, X-File, like that one, Yuma, and Zone. There is your new alphabet, folks.
So I just added it in the chat room too. So Gary and I are going to try to start using this. I'm sure we're going to slip up a few times.
Probably, but we're going to try. I printed mine out. It's on my computer now, so Jesse's going to have to do that as well. But
yeah, well, I'll have it by next week. I'll have it.
Yeah.
I've memorized other phonetic alphabets before, so I can do this one as well. It's easier words.
That's right. So Terra Viators sent that to us. We did a little tweak on a couple of them. But appreciate them sending us the phonetic alphabet. So we're fired up about that.
They were like X Files. There's a few of them in there. Yeah, there's tons of there's several words that can be used for each letter.
Mm-hmm.
We flipped through a few back and forth, and
Yep.
we just settled on one. So
Yep.
easier
We
to
like.
say, and
Yep. We changed a couple because they didn't really phonetically work. They fit more in geocaching, but we
somebody
changed.
said water terrain fizzy, which took me like a couple minutes to realize what they were saying.
Yes, I know what they're saying.
That's funny.
So from now on, you just go water train fizzy.
People are gonna look at us like we're crazier than we already are, right?
Right. To go wait.
Not only do we hunt Tupperware in the woods, but we have a weird alphabet to go with it.
Right. Exactly. All right. Moving on.
Caching with Team Lost Kool-Aid said that they see an idea for a mystery cache now.
Oh, that's true. There you go. Perfect. We applaud that wholeheartedly.
And if you put it on high enough terrain, I'll come get it wherever it is.
That's right. Absolutely. Planetary Pursuit. It's been almost a week. What are your thoughts?
I am very encouraged with the direction Groundspeak's going with this. It's still hugely open to not cheating because it's part of it, but you can get 1,000 points in 5 minutes by just taking your whole trackable collection and dropping them in a cache, and then just taking them right back out. Right? You don't even have to leave your couch. However,
really, do you really want to do that? I mean,
people have absolutely done it already.
Oh, sure they have.
School board filled up in like the first 5 minutes. Like nobody had been out caching yet.
Right.
However, that doesn't hurt me any, right? Like I'm gonna go out and find caches or whatever else, and it's gonna be fun. So, they're 500 points is a lot, right?
Yeah, early on it's easy, and then it gets hard.
Yeah. So the levels start at like you can't not get one, but I really like that they're adding some difficulty to it now. So there's going to be some people that would really struggle, depending on what area they're in, to get all this.
Yep.
So now, hopefully, the next step for the next promotion is there's some way to select who you want on your friends list. Like the friends list is really just a scoreboard this time.
Yeah.
It'd be neat if you can select your own team, and that's going to make it a lot more fun. There's a lot of games that can be adapted there. So they're going in the right direction, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I like the idea. I mean, I want to really kind of separate. I mean, I wish they would separate my friends because that's kind of different from a team, like you said, and your team should be limited to. Which I don't know what the dynamic is on the website of things, but your team maybe should be 5 people. I don't know, whatever.
Depending on what the promotion is, right?
Well, true. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, just a thought. Like you said, I've got because if my whole team is in it, I got a huge team. So, I mean, we could blow through a few points easily if it was a team. This one's kind of interesting because it's all individual. The friend league is just there for your scoring.
Right. And I think there's really easy ways. They're doing it one step at a time, right? Anything you have a computer program with millions of people playing, there's going to be some bugs. If those are considered, those aren't bugs, that's just kind of a loophole. But, there's, I think, easy things they could do, like you can't drop your own trackables in something and get all your points, right? There's no reason for that. Or, maybe only 10% of your points could come from trackables or something. But does it really matter? It doesn't. People are going to do all kinds of weird stuff anyway, but the challenges they set up for us, I like it. Getting up to 500 points, I'm going to have to work to do it.
Yeah, once you get out to the outer planets, you've got it's 100 points, but when you start getting, I'm at Jupiter and now it gets tough because at least for me, as far as, getting time to do that. And, but what's interesting was, I went and did a 15-point one at lunch the other day, and I don't think I would have done that one. It's near work, so obviously I would eventually probably have gotten to it. But because it was 15, I went to go do it and struggled at the beginning because I was in the wrong spot. I'm thinking, well, I'm just going to have to get a 0 point day here at lunchtime, but I finally dawned on me and I went and got it. So I was pretty proud of that one. It was tricky, hidden in plain sight, but I was excited. Got 15 points for it, and
so it's encouraging you, and it's changing a
yeah,
little bit of element of your game, not your whole game, but I
mhm,
think that's what promotions should do, right?
exactly
Trying to get you to get out and move and find caches, different types of caches.
right.
So I think that's good. That's a good general promotion. There's not going to be anything that they put out that's going to be like insane, right? Because it isolates so many people. But I like it. I think they're heading
Yeah,
in a really good direction with it.
I agree with
There's
you.
going to be some stumbling, right? The next one
Yeah,
they come out with may not be any good, but I think we have to give them credit for what they're doing now. This is way better than any promotions they've done before,
yeah, I agree.
in my opinion.
Yep. All right, moving on. You had something that you found?
Yeah, so Cacher Stats, it's cacherstats.com. I don't know if anybody's familiar with this. I think some people are, possibly in the chat room too, but um, a lot of people use it that are big into the numbers game, and it
Yeah.
just ranks you against other people in your state or in the country. So like, you're 500th in your state for just total fines. That's all it takes into account. And I know people, and it has like a little badge that you can put on your profile. So a lot of people have on their profile, and it shows their little
Oh,
rank.
that's the ribbon looking things, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, are those still showing up on people's?
I
I
don't
know
think so.
Zach. I think
So it
Zach.
looks like the website's down, and it's been down for about a week or so.
Oh
So
man.
I don't know what the story is with that. It may just be over, right? The developer may be done with it, or may just be something temporary. But it's been down for a while now, and I know a lot. I've never really gotten into it really big, but I know a lot of people use it. So
Yeah.
maybe somebody knows.
I'm gonna pull up.
Okay.
Somebody say something.
Somebody says they've got a link that takes them straight to the province page. So maybe that's an old link that they have.
Oh, okay.
That's
Well,
Ken in the chat room. Ken, can you put that link in the chat room, and then I'll
he might not. He might
will it
not
not
be able
work?
to.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know what, Ken, if you could put it in, don't put it as a link, but kind of put it in, sort of in a however it'll let you. You probably can't put it in as a straight link. You can put
Break
in
it
like
up or something.
yeah, break it up, put a word, and then just put the word dot or something. But
Anyway, that's interesting. I know it's,
yeah,
or maybe I just got kicked off. Who knows? I don't know.
I don't know. I was going to look at going through my list of my friend list. I was looking. Do you have it on your page?
I don't.
Okay, I know that Sodak Zach does, but I'm trying to find him.
At least I don't think I do.
Well,
I haven't
where is
updated mine in a
he?
while.
Yeah, I'm trying to find people that.
You know what? I had it here and it's gone. So the section I had it in was gone, but I don't.
Right. Oh, well.
Somebody said it looks like a bug on the main landing page.
Okay.
So I wonder if it's. I don't know.
Interesting.
I'll have to look later. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But good thing you mentioned that. That's good to know. So we put out a call last week about blogs with a B for our website. Geocaching Janji manages that for us. Thank you, Angie, for doing that. And she's also doing a lot of our Instagram, but with Jesse doing his and her doing her own, obviously, and also Geocache Talk. We appreciate that. But we did have a submission. So look for that on the webpage going forward. And I read it. It was a really good blog. And so we're looking forward to more of those.
Yeah. Send your stories in. We know you have them.
Yep. Send your stories in. Doesn't have to be really long. You don't have to write a book for a blog. Just tell us a good story. And we'll put it on the website. So
okay. There's some people at Pathfinder said he's got a couple blogs he's working on to send into her.
Oh, awesome.
That's good. So we encourage everybody to do it. Share those stories. This is a great place for it. So
yeah, absolutely. Just send them in. You can send them to us and we'll move it on. geocachetalk@gmail.com. That works. Got a note today from Pete. I don't know if Peter Young's in the chat room. I think he usually is. But Pete sent us a note. He's doing something that's really cool. Travel Bug and Geocoin Resurrection and release events. He's been doing this a couple times, and kind of appropriate for Easter coming up. He's starting this new one, another resurrection of travel bugs and geocoins that have uh, gone awry. Everyone, and here's his note on the page. It's on ibgeocaching.com/resurrection. And it is everyone who has released a geocoin or trail bug knows that sooner or later it will probably disappear. However, this series of events will give missing trackables a new lease on life. IB Geocaching Supplies will put your tracking number from a missing travel bug or geocoin on a free, let me highlight that, free replacement tag, and he'll release it at a resurrection event up in Nova Scotia. So
how can you beat that?
Yeah. So you will go through the process on the webpage of ordering a proxy tag, which you will then do you'll do an order for 0. It'll come out as 0. So it's just a way for he has to be able to track who wants it and all that kind of information. So you must own the trackable being resurrected. You cannot submit someone else's. Trackable must be missing. You cannot submit a trackable that is stuck in a cache somewhere or that has been taken by a cacher and not yet released yet, that kind of thing. It has to be truly missing. It would be preferable that it have been MIA for over a year, since he's had trackables that seem to be lost that suddenly appear out of nowhere. You do not have to attend the event to have a trackable included in the re-release, and there's a link on his webpage to do that. The next one next event is coming up on March 31st, so you'll need to get it in pretty soon so he can get that free proxy tag created and have it get back into the wild. It's a cool idea.
I love it because I know mine always eventually go missing.
They didn't.
Not all of them, because the Michigan
Not all of them.
The Michelin Man didn't.
Yeah, tell about the Michelin Man real fast. That's a kind of cool story.
I think we mentioned that last week, didn't we? Either way,
real quick.
We just got a link in the chat room that I'm going to add to the show notes.
Okay.
It'll actually get you past the first page. So they must be having some kind of issue that's
cacher stats. Okay.
Page. So yeah. All right. So it's in there for whoever needs it. It'll be in the show notes. Yeah, so the Michelin Man, everybody remembers that Michelin Man promotion from a couple years back. It's been a few years, right?
Mention what it is.
They did a promotion, geocaching.com did a promotion with them, and it was the little, Stay Puft marshmallow looking Michelin Man.
Yeah.
There was like it was an air gauge, wasn't it?
It was a tire gauge. Yeah, tire gauge.
It out just to prove that I actually send those promotional ones out that I sign up for. Most people just put them on a shelf. And at the Mega a couple weeks ago, somebody sure enough showed up with it and said, "Hey, I found this and I heard you're going to be here," and I gave it back to you. So I have not sent it back out yet.
That is cool, though.
Kind of hard, yeah. So it went hundreds and thousands of miles all around, and I just assumed it was on eBay somewhere.
Right.
And, sure enough, it showed back up. So that was pretty cool. Now I just need to wait on the Tin Cup one to show back up. I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, it's not going to come back.
Yeah. Hey, it could. Don't crush my dreams.
Well, I think it's really cool for it to have made it to Texas, and you weren't really planning. I mean, it worked out that you came down.
Yeah, I got suckered in because of our show.
Yeah,
I got talked into it.
Came down, and so the last link of the chain said, "Oh, I heard that Jesse's coming down. I'll give it to him then." So gave it to you at the coffee event. I think is where you gave.
I've still got it tightly guarded in my possession right now. I know I'm supposed to send it back out, but and I probably will.
I have never had one anywhere near. I've got one that's still touring Germany. It's a big one though. I wonder if that's the thing. Maybe we should make them larger. It's like a duck, like a rubber ducky kind of thing. And I've got one of the 7 deadly duck trackables that they had the promotional for that a couple years ago, and so that's kind of cool. So, all right.
So then, webcam watch. So I'm going to add a little bit different to it this time.
Okay.
Because we're doing good, and I'm happy. We're holding at 114 in the U.S. still.
114. Hold on.
So I'm going to add in now. We have 279 enabled worldwide and 4 currently disabled.
Wow.
So hopefully those will be re-enabled soon, and they won't go away. So we have the potential to have what, 283 worldwide?
Yeah, boy, that's such a low number for the
It is, and
entire world.
that's everywhere, including one that hasn't ever been found.
Yep, that's no Antarctica.
Yep.
So go get you an FTF on a webcam. That'd be
Hang around long enough. I'm gonna try.
It's still out there. It's still available.
That's right.
It would be an adventure. Let me tell you. Talk about it. You want an adventure geocaching? There's one right there.
Yes, it is.
That one.
You got to get to all 7 continents eventually, right?
You do. In fact, we're going to talk about that next week.
With, all right. Well, we better get started. We're going to go down the rabbit hole whenever we make it to our show.
Whenever we get there. So, all right. We're going to talk about electronic logs, and we're going to talk about physical logs. We're going to start with electronic.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down a little quote, and see what you think of this, Jesse. I wrote, leave a good log on good caches, leave a great log on great caches, and leave a log of some kind on every cache.
So I like that and agree with it, but you have to really kind of define what that means, right?
Yeah.
So what is a good log and a good cache?
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's really kind of in the eye of the owner. Well, not the owner, because the owner thinks probably they're all great, but in the eye of the finder, right?
It is, and it's both, right? But now I don't think it's hard to define a great log and a great cache. We can get into those, but I think where you come into it is good or less. That's where we're good or less logs or good or less caches. That's where we have a difference on defining maybe. But
yeah, we're going to. In fact, I'm going to switch. We're going to pull up one of the what I would consider great, and so I'm going to actually do a screen share. So let me switch over to screen share. There we go. And switch screens, and we're going to talk about Mission 9. Let me pull that up. Oh, I'm sorry, Mission 4. I called it Mission 9. Mission 4, Southern Bowl, and I think we would consider this. I would consider this a great cache. Number one, there's only two Project Apes that are even available now. It used to be just this. Was for a while, for many years, it was just this one. This is in Sao Paulo, Brazil, or near there, actually. So you can read the whole thing. It's fascinating to hear about. You can make a trip down there. I did a show with Rock Chalk about it. If you want to go back and listen to that, it's really early on in the show, show 6, I think. But a great cache, and then here is people do some travel bug stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But every log is there's the group pose. There's the cache, by the way. It's one of those Gigantor ammo cans. So those are kind of cool. So notice every log, and these are electronic. We'll talk about physicals later.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the electronics. Yeah, I would say that everybody did a good job of maybe not this one. This is kind of short. These are some notes that were written.
But I think you're talking about this one easily falls into the great cache.
Yes.
Right. It's either historic, or it's a good area, or it's a really unique icons, and it's all three. So people usually don't stumble upon that cache.
No.
I mean, I'm sure that could happen, that they don't really realize the significance when they find it. But anything special like that takes a big trip to do and everything else, people generally are going to write a pretty good log on it. It may not be, 1,400 characters long or whatever, but they're going to put something good in there, probably put some pictures like most of those have. Mm-hmm. I think that's an easy gimme for everybody, right?
That's an easy one.
If you are that FTF on the webcam in Antarctica, you're going to put a big log on there.
Yeah, let's hope so. And that, by the way, if you're playing along, it's GC Container 67 is that one. So, okay, now this one is, you like that? Yep.
Yeah.
So the next one we're going to talk about, and this is not not a great cache. I'll admit that. It's a nice cache because it's
Is
a
it
little
a good
tricky.
cache?
Is it a good cache? That's kind of
It's your
maybe even
quote, so we just want to.
yeah. It's I think it's good because, and I'll explain why. But this is using one of my own, but this is because I think it has got some interesting things to discuss in it. This is GC5 terrain puzzle 7-2. Sorry, I had to
It'll
pause and
take
look
some
at my
time for us
notes.
to get used to it.
Terrain puzzle 7-2. Although it's not it's not a hard terrain and it's not a puzzle, but that's okay. It's a 1.5, 1.5, very simple. But it's a tricky hide. Anyway, so you talk about a mix. It's got a lot. It's got for a bison. It's a painted bison, so it's a little harder to see. It's not shiny like So it's a very dull green painted
Mm-hmm.
uh, bison tube, and it's on a fence line. But the fence, it's at the bottom of the fence. Spoiler alert. But so it's a little tricky. In fact, when I walk up to it myself, I have to look for a couple minutes to see it. Okay. So
But
this
it's an
person,
interesting mix.
it's a huge mix. So tell me what you think about this. So this person found it recently. They wrote they have 350 finds. They put pretty quick find. Thanks for the cash. So okay. I mean, it's maybe
That's on
I
the
don't know.
short end of a log, but
That's a short end. Yep.
it's more than the one a few down for TFTC.
Yeah. There's a nice hide. This person didn't find it, but by the way, they haven't found any cache ever. So hang in there, person. It's just they've just DNF'd. Ironically, they wrote DNF, which is proper, I guess. But TFTC. I mean, come on. I mean, okay, all right.
Look at the next one. Had to give up to take a potty break.
Yes, but they found it when they came back. So they found 12, but
That's funny.
maybe that's an overshare or TMI. But so this person 57, they didn't find it. Now the interesting thing is that this, and remember these are in reverse order, so chronologically. So this one they found it. They've only found 8, but they said awesome find, really great hint in the description. Well, I wasn't trying to be snarky at the time, but I did wrote uh, my link is small. I don't know why it's not letting me click on it right now. So, oh well. Am I still with you? Am I not locked up? Okay,
Yep.
all right. Oh well. I wrote small. So anyway, and you can see here I went out, I checked on it, went to check, cache is right where it should be, blah blah blah. Then I love the 4 finds. Somebody probably took it. All right, jumping too quickly into that it's not there because obviously it was. I went back and did that. So we're gonna wait. One person wrote a very snarky response about it, which is funny because it's got over 4,000 finds, and yes, he had trouble finding it. I guess that maybe made him mad, so he wrote a long "I'm not happy" kind of thing. Person before them only got 44 finds. Quick and easy find. So
it's always easy once you find it.
Absolutely, once you find it.
But that is a pretty interesting mix. There's logs that are longer, but that's what you're going to see on most.
Yeah, you will.
Caches like that aren't the extreme. You're going to see a good mix like that, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so that's just an example of one of them. So I need to pull up. You got one, right? Did you put one in the notes or not?
Yeah, that third one's mine.
All right, let's pull this guy up. This one is GC5 Altoid 3 Event Yuma.
There you go.
Now,
good job.
This one I'll let you talk through because this is fascinating.
So, well, it's just an example of some good logs. So this is a harder one to get to. You got to hike a couple 14ers and go through a Where to Go cartridge to get there. But if you scroll down, you can see the differences in logs. And this is somebody in the chat room brought it up too. What I really like about this one is people are telling a story, right? Because they've done a physical accomplishment by the end of the time they've done this one.
Wow,
and
look at that.
Pictures in there.
Yeah.
Right, which I really like. And if you That's pretty standard log. There's not a lot of people that have found it yet, so
Right.
or found it because it's hard.
Whoa, look at that one.
Yeah.
Do we think that people that well, is there any correlation between the number of finds and the quality of an electronic log?
Um, I wouldn't say that there is because there's people that have found 100,000 that are only going to write little bitty short logs because they're hitting. I think it has more to do with the cache itself.
Yeah,
That's my opinion, though. But there's some people that are going to find the hardest cache ever and write TFTC in it. That's just, the dreaded TFTC is going to be there.
Yeah.
At least dreaded for a cache owner anyway, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. The one we just showed, in my opinion, doesn't require a great log. I mean, but I think as a cache owner, I'd like to at least hear, okay, I had to hear about the potty break one, but some people wrote some nice things about that they struggled at first to try to find it, but after a few minutes they were able to spot it or whatever. I mean, to me, that's what, as a cache owner, because I read these, I read every one that come in, right? So that kind of gets into, you've probably read all these, when they came in as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, and like I said, this is cool because people write some good stuff, some maintenance. See, this person, they wrote stories, because this one, I think, this is the kind of cache that I think requires a person to write kind of a story about.
Yeah, and it's what I really like too, and I think a lot of people do for cache owners anyway, is the pictures you see on there.
Oh yeah.
And you get these pictures.
Whoa, you're way up there.
Yeah, it's on up there. So
we're looking at a picture. You're up in, that's way up.
Well, and you get these pictures and you see a picture of somebody, especially one like a high terrain one like this, where you're hiking a couple mountains before you get there. People are smiling, they're with their group, and it's pretty interesting. So that is very rewarding for a cache owner.
Yeah.
So
look at that. That's a nice container.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Nice gold ammo can.
Yeah.
Sweet.
You've earned it if you get there.
That's right. But that gets into what we're talking about, which is if it's a great cache, I think I feel like you should write a great log.
Mm-hmm.
If it's an ammo, if it's a bison tube in a tree, well, use your own judgment.
I like that one. Look, see that right note?
Yeah.
So what he's talking about on the name change? No, the one below. Yeah. So
you wrote that.
The one below it is what it's referencing.
Oh, congrats!
So the name of that one is the highest whereago in the world, and when it came out, it was the highest in elevation whereago in the world. One since has been published that is supposed to be higher. It just hasn't been found yet.
Okay.
But I put that name on there specifically to challenge somebody else to hide a higher whereago.
Right.
So we'll see. Once the other one's on Mount Everest. So
this one, wow.
Maybe.
Let's see
if there's a find on it yet.
It's a 5.5.
Yeah, it's Mount Everest. Scroll down, see if anybody's actually found it.
I like that. That's a nice log write up, or a cache.
Nice cache page.
No.
So still hadn't been found yet. Once somebody verifies it and finds it,
yep,
I'll put a big write up in there, and I'm very happy that that one's out there, exists.
Yep. That's cool. Yeah, amazing. So, all right, well, good deal. Let me stop sharing. Let's go back to the show. So, all right, so we've kind of covered.
So now, be honest. Do you do cut and paste logs? And you're going out today. When's the last cache you found?
Last cache I found
this week, right? You found some this week, I know.
I think lunch? It was. Yeah, I think it was that lunch cache I found where, which was kind of cool because it was kind of hidden in plain sight.
So of course, it was on the previous version, but 4.2 Cachely came out a few days ago, and I jumped on my update.
Here, let me share it real quick.
But do you use the templates in there?
I do use the templates. I really do.
Did you use the template on this last one?
I did not. Let me show you the screen real fast. We'll get too sidetracked, but we will, because we are going to talk about that. So let me share the page real fast, real fast. So that's what I wrote. Got to cheesy, kept saying in my head, dream, because it's called dreamsicle, 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 dreamsicle. I'm searching and I'm searching. I read the description again. I read the attributes, and it was the size of the container. I do everything and still no luck. Trying to get this one during lunch, so my time is up. I decided to move back for a last look before I leave. Could it be there? No. Could it be there? No, that can't be it. Yep, that's the cache. Signed the log, gave a favorite point. Well done, well done.
So that's a good cache log.
Right.
I have to applaud you on that one because you did a good job. It's individualized, but I will fully admit that I take full advantage of Cachely's log templates and use it a lot.
I did too.
On a standard average cache, right? Something that's just smiley you're going to grab real quick. It's, a pill bottle under a bush or something like that. I use a standard log. Now, my log does say things like, thank you for hiding it. We appreciate every hide, stuff like that. And I change it from time to time, like, this week we're going after this or whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't change it every single time unless something stands out.
No, I agree. And you did a good job.
If it's been one I've been going for a while, then I come back, write a big log, but I prefer to write those on the computer because I get pretty long-winded on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then throw pictures in there and everything else. But, while I'm very happy to go get a quick parking lot Walmart cache, it's hard to get super creative on those all the time.
No, now you do something cool. I think that I want to do more of, especially with Cachely. Now you can have multiple templates, which I think is really cool. So you had a template I noticed when you came down for the Texas Mega. You create a Texas Mega template.
Yes, and I do that. So I change them every once in a while,
which is really cool because the cache owner, because we went to some that weren't really. Well, they were relatively close to the Mega, but there's probably some caches that we found that people may or may not even been aware of the Texas Mega. And so hopefully they were.
Right.
It wasn't that far from them. So that was kind of cool.
Like in the chat room, somebody says they'll do a template, but they'll add a line or so.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'll do that, obviously, if there's something that stands out or whatever, but I'll admit it's terrible etiquette, but I do it. If I go out and find 50 in a day and they're all just, caches, which I'm all happy to get every single time. I'm smiling just like that smiley. I can't come up with something new every single time. I tried for a long time and I just couldn't do it.
Do you do the more later?
Do I add more later? Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, do you ever do the initial
more later,
sign?
right, more later in there? I do, but I really try to make sure I go back and do it. But if it's one that really warrants a big, good log, sometimes I won't even log it. I'll just wait till I get home, or I'll take a screenshot of it, and so I don't accidentally forget to go back.
That's smart.
Then I'll write as much as, and I've written ones before there is a limit if you didn't know.
Yeah,
on a log, and then have had to write notes to a note or two behind it to finish my story out. But I feel like if it's something that special, then the owner deserves that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of torn myself about, because the cache owner, the initial thing they get is the more later. They may not necessarily read the edited log. Now,
right
on project, if you're a premium member of Project GC, I don't know if I think you have to be premium to do it. It's just a few bucks a year. You will get an update from Project GC saying that somebody has edited your log. And then you can go back and know that, okay, somebody changed that log. You can go back and read it.
Like the one we just saw before the show started.
Yeah.
We were prepping for this, and I looked at, and this breaks my heart, but my current active most favorited cache is an Earth cache, and that breaks my heart. That hurts my soul.
Jesse, that's rough, buddy.
I have other archived caches that have more favorite points, but my current highest favorite. But I looked in there, and one guy, I guess he got confused or did a cut and paste and put all the answers on the Earth cache page.
Whoops.
Yeah, whoops. So I had to delete that one. But, he'll get that notice that it edited or whatever through geocaching.com, and he just had to go back and relog it again.
Relog
which
it.
you didn't have to send the answers in again because they were right, but they were just on the cache page.
Yeah, you can't put those in there.
No. But you can edit them.
Yes. Now, do you use Write Note, or what do you use? What do you personally use the Write Note log for typically?
It depends. Okay. So if we're talking mobile in the field, I rarely do.
Okay.
Except for one thing, and I'll bring that up in a second because it's totally separate. Back home, when I get on the laptop, on somebody else's cache, I use Write Note a lot to give them a note or whatever else. But the 99% of the time when I do Write Note, or I'll do it on my own caches just to give information to people and something, that I feel is necessary, but it doesn't warrant changing the cache page. The number one thing I use Write Note for is for challenges. So if I find a challenge, I'm not qualified for it, I write the note in there, Write Note, signed today, working on this one now from the future. So that's 99% of them is what I do for Write Note.
It's a good idea. Yeah, I think people. I think or let's see how to put this. I think we should use Write Note more often than we are currently. I think there's times where people could write a note that could be helpful either for them or for the cache owner or for the next person that finds it. I mean, there might be something that says, because sometimes I've seen where a cache owner either failed to give a good waypoint for parking or things have changed and they haven't updated the page. So you could leave a note behind that says to the next person, hey, just an FYI, you really can't park in that location. It's listed there, and then you give some coordinates. This is a better place. This is where we end up parking, and this worked out better. Something like that.
So what do you think about cachers that use Write Note instead of DNF?
I don't like that. Fess up, take your medicine, and be proud of your DNF. I mean, I DNF because the other thing too is with Cachely, I want to see the frowny face, the blue frowny face, and so I can always go back and go, all right, what can I avenge DNF? If you use Write Note, you're not going to see that.
Well, and let's be fair. That's an ego thing. I understand there's other exceptions because there's so many ways to play the game, right? But I have talked to people who openly admit that they won't write a DNF log because they don't want it on their stats. Who cares? I don't understand why that matters. There's actually challenges out there for DNFs.
Right.
I saw a challenge somewhere. You can't do it anymore, but have 100 DNFs.
Yeah.
Like, oh, definitely got that.
Yeah, but absolutely.
I don't mind writing DNF. The only time I don't do a DNF is sometimes I'll be lazy if I hadn't set up a template ahead of time and I wasn't logging them right then. I try to go back to do them because that's very helpful with the little 5 smiley, the last 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
If like the last 4 are blue, I may not want to do this unless I have a bunch of time.
Or it's like a red flag saying, "Ooh, if 5 people DNF'd it, why are they DNFing it?" And I can take a look. Or like you and I would do, it's like, "Oh, got a challenge now. Let's go try to find this one because
it's on. I'm going to find it.
Nobody else can find it."
So Terra Visitors GC in the chat room, says they have 1,119 DNFs.
Absolutely,
that's outstanding.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my friend.
I love it.
Yeah, they're the creators of the Geocaching phonetic alphabet. So kudos to them.
Sorry. So Francis said he uses them to, if he's out finding them with his son and he's already found it, he'll put a Write Note on there. Just, hey, I was back there again.
Oh, good idea.
That's a pretty good use for Write Note. Yeah,
I like that a lot.
And I've done that before too. Like if I'm in an area and I just happen to be in an area where there's one and I know the owner, I'll swing by it after I've already found it. And sometimes I'll put a note on there, especially if it's a trickier one. Hey, it's still there. It's in good shape. So that saves the owner a trip.
Now, what do you do in this situation? I'm going to throw a scenario at you.
Uh-oh.
You're out caching. You happen to, you go by one and it's really late and you were trying to get, Jesse's +1. I got to get one. Oh, let's go. talk Christy into going over there. Just one more. Let's just do one more.
Mm-hmm.
You get in the area, you kind of start, but not really. And you're like, we really don't have time for this. We've got to get to wherever we're going. So you didn't really look for it. Do you do nothing? Do you write a note?
I've done both.
Okay.
And I go back and forth on that. So I like to write the DNF if I didn't find it. But
in this case,
I don't want to really reflect if somebody's using their phone. So I have written notes on there and say, I did not find it, but I honestly didn't give it a good try. Yeah. Or it was wet and I didn't want to go around too much, or there was too many people around. So that people could see it and it still could be a DNF, but I don't want people to deter from that cache just because I was lazy.
Sure. So, or lazy just didn't have time.
Or whatever.
You literally ran out of time. You didn't have time to look for it. Okay. Very cool. All right, let's move on to physicals because we're moving along tonight.
So before we do that, somebody asked, how do you find out how many DNFs you've logged? I think you can do that on your profile.
If you go to...
You used to could.
I can show you real fast. Here, let me show you real quick. Let me share. Cancel. Hang on. I can show you real fast. Share.
Geocache finds.
All right, you can go to, use this one for example. You can go to your page. Go to your page and go down to geocaches, and then go to not yours, geocaches, and you can go to didn't find. And I've got,
there it goes.
Yeah, I got a favorite point on a DNF one. How about that? Oh, I found it later. That's why.
Yeah.
So there's mine's probably not as long as it probably should be because there's times that I probably should have logged DNF. It was kind of more of I gave up and I probably should have marked it better. But anyway, so there's one way to look at it. I is there another way you can probably maybe look at that somewhere, or I don't know.
That's the way I always do it too.
Okay.
So this next line in our notes.
134 results.
There you go.
Okay. There you go.
So this next line in our notes, I don't know. This may have to be a whole separate show. Because I have some interesting opinions on needs maintenance and needs archive logs.
Yeah, let's skip that part.
I think we're going to have to come back to it because I know you and I do not agree.
No.
Especially when it comes to certain little things that float around from cache to cache. So let's come back to that one.
We'll come back to that. We'll put a pin in it, as they say, and we will. We need a show like that anyway because that's going to be cool to talk about.
Oh yeah, because I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that one. So
that's good though. That's what
okay,
our shows.
We all play the game differently, right?
That's what our show's about, is to get that good talk going. But all right, physicals. Let's talk. Let's get. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do the cheesy.
So for physical ones, when you're going out to actually sign a log,
yes.
What do you use most of the time, pen or stamp?
Susan has a pen, and I don't know if she's lost it or not. We've had it for a long time. Actually, it's a really good pen. I think I've actually mentioned it before, but that thing will write on anything. And so we use a pen. We never purchased a stamp, but we're a pen. That's all we use.
So I actually do have a stamp. I bought stamps a long time ago, and I bought one to use in the field, and then I bought some other ones to put out some letterboxes.
Oh, okay, cool.
And but I bought them big because they were all going ammo cans in the mountains, so it didn't matter, right? But they're like 3.5 or so inches.
Okay.
So they're too big to use practically in a lot of caches.
Right.
So I keep it in my Jeep all the time, but honestly, I don't get to use it very often. I end up using a pen instead. So I'd say about 95% of the time it's pen. I like the stamp. If I'm going to go out and do a bunch, stamp's awesome for that.
That's for sure.
And I've gone out with a group before when we went, like you have your machine.
Motley Caching Crew.
And I've got a couple people that every once in a while will go out and find just a bunch of caches. And that's our whole intention for the whole day, is just finding tons. So we've got a stamp that we use for the group.
Oh, that's cool.
Coming up too, and it's a little bitty small one, so we can do it on nanos or whatever we come across.
Perfect.
But most of the time, just a pen, just because it's easy. I'll stick it in my hat as I'm running from the car to there and just sign it and keep going.
Keep rolling. That is a really good idea though, to have a stamp for a group if you have a group going out. Now, if you have a stamp, if you're a stamp user, I think it's important
To not
because
be a stamp jerk.
don't be a stamp jerk. Yes, and I have a person that I know I've met actually personally, nice guy, but he will stamp his stamp signature. His stamp is it really doesn't fit well on even a regular log, but it certainly does not fit on a nano log. And this dude he'll do it across he'll do it across the nano page
Like
and he'll
long
do it.
ways.
Yes.
Like
So
18 lines on the.
yeah, let me show what I'm talking about. Not the guy, but so let's see if I can show this properly. So this is an analog.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a good example, I think, of people who have done this correctly. If you look, I don't know if is it logging in properly? Okay. I don't know if it's doing, but so he would write instead of trying to fill in one of these nanolog
Mm-hmm.
spots, he'd write, crossed it,
Oh yeah.
and he'd fill in several, um, and so not good etiquette.
Not the
To
nicest thing to do. But almost
no,
every stamp, unless you make it specifically for a nano, takes up at least 2 lines on one of those little nano logs.
yeah,
So how do you
typically
sign a nano then?
I do it GS and SM for G Slink and Slinky Mama, and I have gotten to be very careful now that I've been a cache owner of several caches for a while. I'm very careful. I want to fill in one square, even if it doesn't really fit with the date and everything else. I don't want to take up more than one because.
So you're one of those that has to have the bottom line and have the date on there and be super neat so somebody can read it and everything else.
No, I don't have to be super neat, but I don't want to take up more. I don't really want to fill up more than one space if I can really avoid it. Now, if it's a larger log, I might fill in two, but I don't want to. I really don't want to go further than that. Part of the deal is, and you've probably seen this too, and that is, um, you will get the constant badgering by whoever finds your cache that the log's full. You need to fix this. It's like, yeah, I'll get out there and fix it as soon as I can, and then of course, I've gotten those recently, and I go out there, and it's like, there's a whole back to the log
So do you
with
sign on the
lines
back?
even. Oh yeah, I'll sign anywhere.
So I practice log anarchy.
Okay, good.
Intentional log anarchy. I don't care.
But
My name is on that log. And there's actually a cacher around here that his stamp is kind of like it's like circular, but it's like words on the top and words on the bottom. So the center
yeah,
is always empty.
you'll fill in the blank.
He finds tons around here. And I always look on the log, and if it's on there, I put my initials right in the middle of
Right,
his stamp.
right
I don't care if he found it first, last, or anything. I don't care when it was. And I just think it's because I'm like, nobody, that's wasted space. So I put it right in there. If the owner got mad, they're like, you didn't sign the bottom line and date it. And
oh, I would never do
I don't
that.
care. I don't even care. It's just one smiley. I don't care. I'll sign it anywhere. I'll sign it on the side of the log. If there's an empty space, I'm signing there because I'm going to keep it. I hate going out to replace logs for my own caches. So if you can make it as super small as you can, do it. I don't, and I'm talking nanos, right? So I'm not talking, the one that you hiked 5 days to get to, and it's got a full moleskin notebook and you can write a passage. I'm talking nanos. Okay. I don't care where on there I put it, nor do I care anybody on mine. I hope that they're considered enough to squeeze it in somewhere in the empty space. Because you got the guy that's got the cool little stamp puppy dog, and it takes up the whole front page. Sign all around that thing.
Right.
I don't want to replace it for one stamp.
No, I've signed in places that just to get my name on there and not. But so let me ask you this then. Have you ever deleted a log because somebody physically did not sign?
Well, I'm trying to think if I have or not. if I knew for a fact that somebody was cheating to do
Okay.
it,
Mm-hmm.
um, most of my caches, um, I don't think I've had armchair caches on mine, and most of mine,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that aren't challenges, so those are intentionally easy to find.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
But my normal caches, you generally don't stumble upon them, and other people would call them out even before I would. Like that one I just showed you, people really earn them, so they try really hard to get there.
Yeah.
Like the earth caches, there is no log, so those don't count or whatever.
Right.
But it's they don't have as many fines on them as a lot of them do, as a
Mm-hmm.
lot of caches do. So one that was just random would stand out. But I can't think of anybody that's done that. Now, if it was a crazy one and I got there and checked it and their name was not on the log, yeah, it'd be gone. I'd email them first. Hey, what's up? If they said, "Here's my picture. I'm standing right next to the top of the mountain," and my pen was weak on ink or something, and they got some kind of other proof, sure, it can stay on there. I'm fine with it.
Right.
But don't claim a fine that you didn't get.
Well, that's true. I have one cache in town, and it has a decoy.
Ugh,
Um, and so it's the only one I've ever done. And I contact the owner and I say, you signed the decoy, and now it's laminated. So if you're signing that, and you're really in trouble because it's laminated. And it says on there, this is not, it's very plainly written. This is not the cache. So I will contact the finder and I'll say, I'm deleting your log, and you can go back and you can sign the actual log because you didn't find, or I have no proof that you found the log. Because
right.
I checked the actual log, and they're not in there. So they found the decoy, and they just signed the decoy either because they were bored, they were tired of looking, or they just,
Well,
I don't
in
know.
that case, yeah, I'm sorry you don't get a fine on this one.
Yeah.
Um, However, somebody brought it up in the chat room too. Terra visitors brought it up in the chat room.
Mhm.
It's hard to know for a fact, so I'd want to email and investigate before I delete. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking back, there are a couple situations where I had to delete a log, but it was a
Mhm.
conversation, right? And when I emailed them and we talked about it, they didn't find the right thing or something else happened. But they bring up a good point. I've seen several times where people will swap the log out, where they'll add their own piece of paper in there with the log,
Mhm.
or the log gets old and wet, so they put a new paper in there. Well, then there's some signatures missing after that point. So I'd really want to make sure before I deleted a log, I'd want to make sure it was legit and somebody was just cheating. Other than
Yeah.
that, if it's a nano, I would probably never delete one because first of all, I wouldn't care to check it. It's just a nano.
Right.
Second of all,
No.
just like
Yeah.
me, I write it way up in there, so they're not in chronological order.
Oh,
you
sure.
know. But if it's
Yeah.
like an ammo can 50 miles away and the logbook is as big as the ammo can and it's just clearly missing, okay, we might have to discuss this one over email.
Yeah. Yeah. Terra Viators, he does bring up a good point, which is that it could be initials, team names, penmanship. Team names is interesting. Have you ever signed? We will sign it as MCC, but we will write in the electronic log, we are signing as Motley Caching Crew. We're signing as
Oh,
MCC. So I don't know if that's something
so not
that
Terra visitors.
Terra
Well, I was totally.
Viators.
I've got my chat so small. I thought it said visitors.
Yeah, that's okay.
My bad. Sorry about that.
Yeah, he's been called
Um,
Terra Vaders and Terra Violators. I like that, but no.
Terra. That one's actually kind of cool.
Terra Viators. Yeah, that is kind of probably
Um.
who knows how it's taken. But
So yeah,
anyway,
team names are a good
so
point. Like we do that routinely. We go out
yeah,
as a group. Now, actually, our stamp ends up having most of our names shoved on there
yeah.
as part of the design. But when we go, like a lot of times we'll go on a hike and we'll go as a group and we sign it as a team name because we don't want that person to have to go 18 miles to get out to
Mm-hmm.
replace their log every once in a while. So as
Right.
small as we can write it on there, we sign for the group. Now we all log them together that day, whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
that's a good point too, right? You sign it as a team and you're not taking up a whole log writing 15 people on there.
Yeah, that to me is proper logging etiquette. If there's 5 of you in a group, don't all 5 of you. And I'm not calling them out, but I do have on my log sheet that we have 4 people, and they actually, why they did it, I don't remember why. This is back in 2015. They actually signed it twice, so they took up 8 lines for 4 people, and they didn't have to do it. So it's like, did they not see that they logged it? They logged their name on there physically twice, and Terabyters is the second one on the list on that one. But I don't know why they did that. They're not normally, that's not normally what they did. So I don't know what happened there, but what's interesting is here's one, Jesse, that you might be
All right.
interesting about. So it took up a line. It kind of took up a line above it and a line below it, and it was a father and daughter, and the father had the daughter sign it, and this is when she was pretty young, and so she kind of wrote a big squiggly line.
Oh yeah.
Then he wrote the little girl's name, which is fine. I don't that to me that's kind of
kids get a pass.
Yes,
so I don't care how sloppy it is. This is a game. It's supposed to be absolutely fun. And if she took up half that page, good for her. She wrote her name on there. Good for her. Adults don't get a pass. Kids get a pass, though.
That's right.
And it's supposed to be a fun game.
And you can ride around it if you had to. Like you said, you just kind of fill in blanks as you go. So, the large caches, that's like you said, that's I think you're right. I think that you're allowed to write more if it's like you said, if it's up in the mountains and it's really hard to get to, have at it. Write a page or 2.
Well, and yeah, so I've had a few like that I've come upon, and they haven't been found in a year, and it's an actual moleskin notebook. It's intentionally in there for people to, because it's not going to get 100 finds in the life of that cache ever. I mean, it's a hard hike to get in there, right? Mm-hmm. Last person was 9 to 12 months before. Right. I'm going to write a little note in there, and it's not even going to be the same note as I put on electronic, but for me, it's something neat. That's a special cache. It took a long time to get there, and not a lot of people find it. I like to write that little note in there.
Absolutely.
But that's rare. That's very rare that I'm going to do that. Usually I don't even write Memphis Mafia out. I just write MM. Which is like a big squiggly heartbeat line,
Right.
But, when you're finding a cache that was always intended to be just a quick find and a quick hide, you don't need to write a big crazy log on it. I don't think anybody expects that.
No. You wrote a note here about old puzzle find. What's the?
So I'll tell myself I don't care, and everybody can lie and say they haven't done something similar, but I'll admit it. I was writing these logs, and I was thinking about how the logs are. Mm-hmm. I was looking for a place to hide a cache, and this will be a cache etiquette question. So you can tell me if I just was terrible for doing this. Early on, I was looking for a place to hide a cache. I was driving down the road, and there was this crazy tree. I was like, oh, pull up the thing. There's no cache there. Sweet. Right. I'm going to hide this cache here. So I go and tromp in and find this great little place, and there was already a cache there.
Oh.
Like, no, there doesn't show anything to be on here. I was like, this must be a puzzle or a multi or something. So I pull out this cache, look at the cache log, look at the last 5 names, do a little quick Google,
searching
on those people, see which one they found in common. It matched up with the dates. I had a solved puzzle.
That's right.
I sure claim that puzzle too.
I think
because I found it. Now I did go back and solve, just because I felt guilty. I did go back and solve the puzzle.
Right.
But what was I going to do? Not
claim
it, not find it. I found it by accident, but I found it. So in that case, the sequential logging actually helped me out. So
it did.
I had everybody's date. What else was I going to do? Not find that? But
no,
I did feel guilty, and I did solve the puzzle. But it helps when you know what the answer is, right? So
that does help. It's going to reverse engineer it pretty easily.
So if you stumbled on that same thing, would you do the same thing?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, good.
I would.
See, Owen says accidental finds count. Thank you very much.
Accidental finds do count.
I found 2 letterboxes that way. Like,
have you really?
Letterboxes, yeah.
Oh yeah. We found one time like that. We found a letterbox. Unfortunately, what happened was that somebody put a cache too close, really, to a letterbox, not a letterbox hybrid, but like you said.
Yeah.
And so the poor person that owned the letterbox was probably like, "Those dang geocachers are messing with my letterbox. It's a true letterbox without not a hybrid. So
Have you accidentally found a cache before?
I've never done that.
That wasn't
That's
even
cool.
the only one I've done. I found
That's
another one.
cool.
I got in the habit of a while ago when I was pulling into a parking lot. If I park
Yeah.
next to an LPC,
Right. You pull it up.
I would just pull it up, and I found one like that one time. I didn't
Well,
even hadn't pulled up anything ahead of time. I just pulled up the lamp skirt, bloop,
yeah.
cache
No,
there.
actually, we did. We found one like that one day. Susan did. She goes, because we were munzing and we found the munzie and she's like, huh, I wonder what. She lifted up. There's a cache there, but it was just
Oh yeah, if you see a lamppost and there's a Monday there in your park right next to it, you might as well pick that thing up.
pick up might as well lift that
Yeah.
skirt.
And why
All
not?
right,
Right? Just pick it up and see. It may be a free smiley. You don't
that's
even
right.
know.
Woo-hoo. Didn't even. Then you got to reverse it. It's like, where are we and where is this cache? And pull up Cachely, and what do you know? There it is. All right, I got a last thing for you to talk about here. Grievances. Was brought to us by Electric Water Boy. So tell me what you think of these. He gave us 10 grievances.
Okay.
Here they are. Blank logs.
As far as electronic,
I think electronic.
have to be electronic, right?
Yeah.
I don't even understand how that happens.
I don't think they should allow it.
But at the same time, it's that versus TFTC. It's both annoying.
They're both annoying.
It doesn't help anybody, and that's just how people are playing the game. Very annoying.
Right. Grievance number 2 was TFTC logs. Number 3. Yeah. Here's number 3. I forgot my pen.
That's a shame. That's called a DNF.
That's a DNF.
Scratch something. I would give somebody credit though if they even scratch something in there. Get some dirt on your finger. Right. Say I had to get creative and scratch something in there. Cool. Yep. You got more creative than having a pen. So I give you credit for that.
Yeah, Doc Firewoman was talking about one time when she was using like mascara or something to rise. Whatever you got to do.
I've used berry juice before. I've used all kinds of stuff.
Now there you go. There's
looks like murder on it. Yeah, I've done it.
Right. Needs maintenance after a hurricane came through, and the log is a litter dump. Litter is a what did he write here? Is a little. Oh, I'm sorry. I had moved my cursor over. Needs maintenance. The person put a needs maintenance on a cache. This is after a hurricane came through, and the log, and they put this log's a little damp. We're gonna have to put a needs maintenance on this log.
So that's just kind of weird, right? Like they'll get some paper out of your car and stick it in there.
Right.
But so if it's completely wet and unsignable, did you find it or did you found it? Did you sign the log? Because I've signed some wet logs, right?
Oh yeah.
And you can dry them out if you have the time and do all that other stuff, or stick a little piece of paper in there. But you still found it. I've had a log before that was so wet, my little scratch marks just ripped through the paper and everything else. Yeah, I still found it. That's still a smiley for me.
It is. How about this one where you get the coordinates are off, and of course anything around them has been found, hundreds of times, and they write cords are off. So okay, so the cords are off.
That's great if you add the corrected cords in there, but don't just say cords are off. Good luck guessing.
Exactly. We're skipping the needs archive stuff because we're bringing that up on a different show. He called grievance number 8, the War and Peace log, a rubber stamp, fill in the blank log that goes on every cache they find that day, and it goes on and on and on and on.
Well, so I've done that, so I can't say crap about that, right? Like if I go out and I find a power trail of something, or like a geo art, right? And they're all the same after the first one, I'll write a really neat, cool log on the first one, and then just cut and paste after that.
Cut and paste it, yeah.
How are you going to write individual if they're all the exact same? How are you going to write something individual? Would continue the story to the next cache?
Well, I guess you could, but at least you wrote a good log on one of them.
Right.
And obviously the cache
favorite points on the beginning, and all that other stuff. And I'll do all the pictures on that first log and not the next 99 of them.
Sure.
That would be kind of annoying for the owner, I would think.
Yeah. And the owner, I think, will appreciate the fact it's because the same owner, the fact that you wrote a nice log on one of them, like if I had a series like that, I would be okay with that. Because you told me what you're out there. Yeah. You told me your story. You don't have to tell me the story 99 times. How about this one? Hide was too hard, so I made it. This is more of a physical.
Gosh,
the hide was too
for this one.
Yeah, the hide was too hard, so I made it easier for the next person.
Yeah, that's not only unethical, it's against the actual rules. You're not supposed to be moving caches to
Right.
improve somebody else's cache.
Their improvement
Yeah.
is it's not an
I put it back
improvement.
where I thought it should be.
Oh gosh, no. No,
Yeah.
don't
No,
don't
don't move people's caches.
don't ever do that. Put it back where you found it. Now, if you think it's wrong, put it back where you found it and then contact the owner. But don't be trying to
Right, right.
don't don't be playing geocaching god out there. I love this one. This is the last one. I saw it, but I couldn't get to it.
Yeah, that gets deleted.
It gets deleted.
Yeah. I don't delete a lot of things, but that would be deleted, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Although, and you know what? If you're gonna do that though, I would still email the person first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, because we've had ones that are like multis.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see a brand new person, they'll find stage one and they think that's it. That's the end of it. And they'll write, oh, I found this one, stage one, and found it.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll email them and go, hey, sorry, that's not how this works. Let me explain to you how it works or whatever. And usually they're like, oh, thank you, that's helpful. I don't just delete it and not tell them anything.
Right.
But I've seen that too on challenges. They'll find like a challenge cache, but be nowhere, they're brand new and it's like, find 100 virtuals and they found like 3 caches.
Yeah.
Like, dude, good that you signed it, but here's how challenges kind of work. But I'll email them before I just automatically delete
absolutely.
it. Because they'll get a bad taste in the game. That's terrible.
Yeah, we don't want that. It's like it's like a squirrel. You want to frighten them away. You want them to come back. You want them to stay in the game. And I've done that too. Like you said, is I will actually contact them first and say, really appreciate you coming and finding this cache. This wasn't the cache. Especially on my little Batman hide that is out there. That it's not. You don't sign the the
You had to laminate it. That's funny.
I did. I laminated it. I had to. I was getting logs like crazy. Oh, easy cache. No, it's got a little higher difficulty because it's not where you think it is. Anyway, all right.
And you get the log that says this was too hard. It's like a 5 difficulty.
Right.
No, hard as it can possibly be. Sorry, man.
Yeah, that's that's crazy. Those people are. It's
so in general though, the one thing I'll say about electronic, what my pet peeve would be, is snarkiness or rudeness.
Right.
If you didn't find it, sometimes you just don't find things, right? We've all missed them. I don't care how good you think you are. Don't be snarky and don't put like that one that you showed. I think you scrolled through it, but there were bad words in there. This is a game with kids, and my kids play. Don't be putting cuss words in your log. I don't care how mad you are, how bad of a day you're having. Even being rude is stupid, but cussing in there and doing bad, come on. Really? Because anybody has access to those logs. Those are for the public to see.
Yeah.
So just control yourself a little bit for you. If you really need to rant, send that person an email.
Yes.
And then put email details, unhappy, whatever. Don't rant in a log like that for everybody to see forever. That's ridiculous.
No,
and
in fact, even in that one, I've thought about deleting it, sending him a note and saying, "Hey, I know you had a bad day probably, and you wrote this."
I would delete that one because he put cuss words in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I might go back and delete it and maybe have a conversation with them. So, all right. So, final thoughts on proper geocaching logs.
So on the electronic side, if it's worthy of a good log, write a good log. That's not that hard, right? Put stories, put pictures. The cache owner, if they went to some effort to do something more than the standard cache, thank them for it. That's better than favorite points to me, because I think, and we've had that discussion about favorite points, they're only good while the cache is active. Your electronic log really tells them the story, right?
Absolutely.
As far as the physical log, just sign it. I don't care. I don't care if it's upside down, in Chinese, sideways, whatever. Just sign the log. Who cares where you sign it? Don't take up an inordinate amount of space, but just sign it. Everybody's different. Everybody attacks it a different way. In the spirit of the game, because people are going to always cheat, right? But in the spirit of the game, that is finding a cache. As you get to the log, no matter what effort or trickery it took, get to the log, put your chicken scratch on there, and you've done it. People that get all upset about he didn't sign it on the right line or didn't put the date, Get over it. This is a game.
Get over
That's
it.
just silly, in my opinion.
Yeah. And, a final thought on that too, Jesse, the fact that what I like is if it's and try to be readable, try to be legible. But what I like about it is that, and I've told this story before, the fact that Susan and I were down in Kerrville, which is a ways from where we are here. And we hiked up this hill. It was a pretty significant sized hill, especially when I was heavier. We get to the top, we open up the container, and one of the names not too far down from where we would end up signing it is a friend of ours in Mount Pleasant, which is an hour east of here, and we're clear out west. So the fun thing was I may not have noticed his electronic log, maybe off the top of my, but here we are. We're up on this side of this hill, and we're open up, and I go, Zunkai signed this. I go, so I was looking to Susan. I'm like, look at this. Look at Zunkai signed this. Look, his name's right there. And she's like, no way. Zunkai. It's like, he doesn't live, he lives further east than we do. And so there's a fun thing. The fact that, wherever you are, I'm sure you find people in Colorado, you find, one kind word sign something. You're like, really? He found this? I can't believe he found this. So you can talk to him about it. So there's a lot of good
place, right?
Right. So there's some good fun with that, is to see
people. There's value in it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, good talk, Jesse. All right. Well, coming up on the show next week, we have Doug McCrae on the show. This is going to be another fascinating show. Doug McCrae is the creator of the Ms. Pac-Man game, which is a great story in itself. But we're going to talk about some other things because Doug McCrae is a avid geocacher. And when I mean avid, I'm talking avid. We're going to talk about, he just found his 7th continent. And I think that's all. There's 7 continents. So he was on Antarctica. For now, there's 7. Who knows what's going to pop up? But if there is, and there's a cache there, he'll go find it. So we're going to talk to
on my bucket list.
Yes. So we're going to talk to Doug about that. And he's got his website, retiredguy.com. We'll do some showing of that and some fascinating stuff that he's been doing lately. He also has a whole series of challenges, and I don't think we really got a chance the last time he was on to really talk through his challenge series. He's got several challenge series, and I know, Jesse, you're love challenges, and so I think this will be fascinating. I've gone through and looked at his. There's a cache in Florida that I could claim. I could go sign that log right now. But of course, I got to go to Florida to sign it. But be a good, definitely need to do that
That's a perfect use of right note, by the way.
That's right. There's a good use. So he's going to be on the show. We're going to we'll have a lot of fun talking about that and all sorts of different things that Doug does. It's fascinating. In 2 weeks, Ryan Semmel will be back on the show. We're going to talk about, and I had to get clarification today to make sure I get this right, but the National Trails System. The act that was created for the National Trails System is its 50th anniversary this year. So we're going to talk about the National Trails System, and we're also going to talk about the Santa Fe Geo Tour, which is part of that. And so we're also going to have on Joanne Van Curven. She's the manager of the Santa Fe Trail Association. And so that'll be fun to talk about that Geo Trail. We're going to talk about the National Trail System, learn some cool stuff. I don't know a lot about it, but we're going to learn some cool things about it in 2 weeks. And then 3 weeks, we're going to have our good friend Keith Petrus back on the show. He's going to give us an FTF magazine update and kind of tell us about how FTF magazine survived a hurricane.
Yeah, that's right.
Stay tuned for that story. That's in 3 weeks. So, well, we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Email us your comments at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Get your stories in, get your blog in as well. So we can get that on the website. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Geocache Talk. My personal one's at Gary Slinkard. We're also on Instagram. We've got a couple that we're really actively using. One is Geocache Talk, all one word, and Memphis Mafia. Go check out the photos. You guys are posting some great stuff on Instagram. y'all are gramming it up. We love it.
Gramming it up.
Gramming it up, man. There's some good stuff out there.
I can't take credit for it. My CFO's doing that.
Okay. Well, tell Christy thanks, because we're loving the photos, and it's been fun to watch you guys as you're out geocaching and eating. There's been some good photos of some food on those.
Now that's just Memphis Mafia though. Janji's doing she's doing the Geocache Talk one, and she's doing great. So
yes,
it's great that we're getting to incorporate more people. So we're building the network.
Yeah, it's definitely a GTN, Geocache Talk Network, with lots of cool stuff. Show can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, well as the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button below, so you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. It gives you a reminder. And tell your friends. We want more people to be a part and to get some I think we've got some cool information, cool content, cool guests. So tell your friends about the show. Get them involved, and get them in the chat room. We had a good active chat room tonight. I saw that. Mm-hmm. So thank you, chat room, so much. Until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. Leave proper logs, both electronically and physically, regardless of what some of us have said. No. And go geocaching. Good night, everybody. Good night.